Hey guys, it is Forge here and welcome back to another episode of All the Mods 10. We are back here on the pirate ship, but I think today we're probably going to be saying goodbye to this place. I know we were only here for one episode. It is really cool, but it's just not big enough for what I need and for what I want to do. So I think we're going to be looking for a new area. But before we do that, I want to take you guys through some stuff I've done in between episodes. So I've gotten a load of good books and I've stuck them on these two tools for now. I haven't really got that many emeralds to upgrade all my tools, and I definitely haven't done my armor yet. I've also got this iron farm from the Easy Villagers mod, which just produces iron and poppies as if it was an iron farm. That is very, very helpful. And I've got one of these to get myself some emeralds a lot quicker. And if we look over here, you'll see I have tons of villagers, each named with the enchanted book they trade. So I spent probably a couple hours. This was probably the least painful Easy Villagers like setting up trade session I've had. I actually did it pretty quickly. So to be able to go off and explore, I'm kind of wanting to make one of these diamond jetpacks just to make it a little bit easier, to give us a little bit of access to flight. It's not quite creative flight though, but to start off with, we're going to need to make this wooden jetpack. So we'll go ahead and we'll make a leather strap, and then we should make one of these wood capacitors. So we're going to need some of these energy cells, some basic coils, some sticks. So I'm going to go ahead and craft up some of these basic coils. We're just going to need 11 of them in total, just for this one anyway. We'll probably need more later on. Then we'll make some of these wooden energy cells. We're going to need 5 of these, I believe, and then we can make the wood capacitor, except I have no planks on me. So there's that guy. And then finally, we're just going to need 2 of these thrusters. So we're just going to need some furnaces, and we can go ahead and make the thrusters, and that'll give us a wood jetpack. And now basically we're going to be upgrading these like we do with the iron furnaces, like we do with the chests, and we just go ahead and we'll use the stone one just to save ourselves some copper. And now I've got all the stuff to be able to upgrade to the stone jetpack, and now I'm just going to basically have to keep doing this, tiering up. So we're going to go iron, then we're going to go gold, and then we'll finish off at diamond. So I've crafted my way up all the way to the gold jetpack, and this was very actually iron intensive if anything, but we can go ahead and now make the diamond one. And now that we've got this, we're just going to need a way to charge it, and that we're going to use the charging station from the charging gadgets mod. And this is just a real simple, easy to make charger, and we can go ahead and plug this guy in here. I'm probably going to need to disconnect that pipe, and then we can go ahead and throw the diamond pack back in, and it'll go ahead and charge it slowly but surely. Oh yeah, and last episode I was saying how I couldn't see these vengeance spirits, and I haven't changed anything with this ring. It's not active. I just can see them now. Well, when I kill mobs I can. Also when I use the pickaxe I have seen a few show up. So yeah, they definitely do exist, although I haven't really been taking damage, probably because of this guy. So my jetpack's got 5 million FE in it now, which is quite a lot of power. I had to re-top up these generators, but we can go ahead and put it on. And since we got something in the back slot, let's just go ahead and throw it in the curio slot, as it does still work there. I'm gonna go ahead and stick hover mode on just so I don't fall really quickly, and I guess I can turn the engine on and we can go ahead and fly off. And this thing is really, really quick because it's a higher tier one. I did forget though, quickly before I leave, I would like to set one of these down, a waystone. I found a couple of these while I was exploring the world. You just find them in villages, or they're just randomly throughout the world, and you can break them in this pack luckily and get them, but they are very easy to craft if you want them. You just need this warp stone, which again is pretty easy to craft. But let's go ahead and put this down, and then we can go ahead and name this as base. And yeah, so we just want to save that. And now if we go out into the world and we place another one, we can just teleport back to this one really, really easily. So now that I've done that, I'm gonna go ahead and fly off and find a base. So I think I found an area I want to set up in. It's this sparse redwoods area, and I've kind of cleared out a bit of space here for where the house is gonna go. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the stuff made so we can go ahead and use one of my favorite mods to try and kind of copy this in from another world. I just noticed this guy in the background as well, and I think he's after me. That's terrifying. You do not seem like a nice dude. Kind of really want to know if he can kill me though. I'm very scared. Oh no, it's ice and fire. It's definitely ice and fire, and that's what's scaring me so much, because the mobs are quite powerful from that mod. Also, it makes horrifying noises, and just the way it moves. Whoa, okay, he won't kill me by the looks of it. Sea serpent, do we think we can take this guy out? Oh, I got him. That is a big spirit. What do we get from this guy? We got a sea serpent fang and a sea serpent scale. That's really cool. So now we got all that sorted and that sea serpent killed, which was quite cool. I'm going to go ahead and make this template manager and this copy paste gadget. So let's go ahead and craft these guys up. There's the template manager, and then we'll get the copy paste gadget. And I need to go ahead and charge this guy up here, and we'll place this template manager here. Now I'm going to have to go into my creative world where I built the house. So I think I've shown this before, probably in All the Mods 9, I think, when I did that. But basically, I've got this template here, and it's called main base. And I've basically copied it from the copy paste gadget onto this template, which is just a piece of paper that has had a build basically saved to it. So I can go ahead and press this copy button now. And then when I get into the world, I can hit this paste button onto another piece of paper. And essentially, it's going to copy the structure across. So now I'm back in the world. I can go ahead and name this thing as I want to. So we'll call it main base. And then we'll go ahead and paste this thing in, and that's a bit spoilers, but now you can see everything we're going to need to build this thing, and then we can go ahead and just load it onto the copy paste gadget. So I'm going to get collecting all of this stuff together, and it can actually paste from the backpack as well, which is really cool. Well, I've got all the resources all collected up, and we've had to use some pretty interesting machines here. We had to use this light electricity generator here from Mr. Crayfish's furniture mod to go ahead and power this workbench so I could get one of these guys, the spruce mailbox. And the way you connect these guys is actually really cool. So you use the wrench and you go ahead and you just right click there and then right click on there, and this seems like this can power up to 12 different devices. I also had to make a couple of these tables from the chip mod, and these just allow you to change the texture of certain things, kind of like a chisel. So now I've got all of that, let's go ahead and just teleport to the redwood base. And I've gone ahead and anchored this now to this point. You just do that with a hotkey. You can change in the configs, and you can see we've got our build here. So to go ahead and place it in the world, we just go ahead and right click with this tool in hand, and it's going to use a bit of power, and it's going to go ahead and spawn in all of the blocks from our backpack. And there you go, we got this build all pasted in, and all we got to do is kind of flip some trapdoors and grow up these berries, although they look like they've been grown automatically. Not all of them though, but I can't really take full credit for this build, as I did get quite a bit of inspiration from a website called Lemon 8, I believe, from a guy called Flynn. I'm not sure if he's the original builder of this, but he's the one who posted the thing I kind of used as a reference. So I'm going to link that down below so you guys can go ahead and check it out. And if you guys know of who the original builder is, please do let me know down below so I can go ahead and link them as well. So now that we got that all built and in the world, I'm going to need to go ahead and move all of this stuff over. And to help me with that, I'm going to go ahead and make some of this packing tape from the sophisticated storage mod. And basically what you can do with this guy, you need to use it on sophisticated storage only storage containers, but you can go ahead and right click each one of these. Oh, I've run out of space. There you go. And then we can go ahead and just break these and get them straight into our inventory without losing all their contents. So I've gone ahead and moved all my stuff in, albeit a bit temporarily because we've got stuff just kind of everywhere. I've chucked some stuff upstairs here, and we've got our bed just in this little room here. And then if we run on back downstairs, I've gone ahead and dug out a little basement and kind of decorated it a little bit. And this is where we're going to have our machines and where we're going to be working in just a second. But before we do anything downstairs, I want to go ahead and utilize these little turtles here from Computercraft, and I've got a couple of them in this chest. Let's go ahead and just search for them. There you go, we've got 3 of these plus the 4th one here, so I'm probably going to go ahead and use 2 of these guys. And these have a couple of uses. You can set a felling turtle, so these are cut down trees. There's all sorts of them basically, but the thing I want is actually one of these mining turtles. So this is just combining a turtle with a diamond pickaxe. So let's go ahead and craft 1 and then 2 of these. And unfortunately you can't put fortune on these little guys, but they are very cool, and I just want to give them a little bit of use. So we'll go ahead and grab some coal, as that's what they use to be powered. And I think I'm going to dig like a little mineshaft entrance here. I'm probably not going to make it look too pretty today, as I've done a fair bit of building. So I think that should do, and I'm just going to go ahead and dig this thing down, probably kind of like this, so I can have a little bit of water in the middle and just do a quick drop down. down. So I've gone ahead and I have dug this all the way down to Y minus 56, which I believe is the best Y for finding diamonds. Let's go ahead and jump down here. But boy, I must say it takes a lot longer to get to diamond level these days. So what we're going to do with these is quite simple, especially compared to what you can actually do with this mod. So we're going to go ahead and place both of these guys down right here. We're going to come into their inventory. I think we just put that there, and then we just type in mine 50, I believe. No, tunnel 50, not mine. Tunnel 50. There you go. And then we hit enter. And this guy will go ahead and start tunneling himself forward, as you can see. There you go. And he'll collect the blocks as he goes, and any coal he finds he will stick into his inventory. So I've got both of these guys running down here now, but there are some drawbacks to these. One, they don't place torches as they go, so you know you got to kind of come down here, otherwise you're going to get a bunch of mob spawning. And two, if you leave the game or if they get like unchunk loaded or something, then they will go ahead and stop. So you will have to kind of maintain them, but that's why I didn't set them to go too far, only 50 blocks. So I'm just gonna go ahead and leave these guys down here, and we'll come check on them again. See, this guy's already uncovered some diamonds for us, which we can fortune. So the next thing I'd like to work on is try and get some better crop farm. This guy is great and all, but he's a little slow, and I don't really want to rely on single block farms because I don't find them too fun. So we're going to be delving into some create to try and make some of these, what are they, mechanical bearings to set up some automatic farms for potatoes, carrots, wheat, so maybe some nether wart when we get to the nether. Let's get started with create then. So to begin with, we're going to need some of these andesite alloys, and you can make this with either zinc or iron nuggets. Since I have a lot of zinc and not really much other use for it, we'll go ahead and craft this stuff out of zinc, and we got ourselves a full stack here. So we're probably going to need quite a few of these shafts, so let's go ahead and make a bunch, and we'll probably need some of these cogwheels as well. So we're going to need ourselves some planks. I'm just going to use these redwood logs as I have so many of them. So let's make ourselves some cogs. How about 20 of the small ones, and let's say probably a bit less of these, maybe 10 of the big ones for now. And we'll probably need to make some more shafts, but we won't worry about that now. To power everything, we're going to go ahead and use these water wheels, and I'm just going to go ahead and make 2 of these to start with. And then we're going to need this mechanical press. So we're going to need to make ourselves some andesite casings. So you just do that by getting some andesite alloy and a stripped log or wood of any type, and you just right click in your hand, and then you can go ahead and break all of these guys up. So we're going to need an iron block additionally for this guy, and then we'll go ahead and make the mechanical press. And we should have been completing a fair few quests as we went along there, so let's see what we have unlocked from this. A bit more andesite, a bit more andesite alloy, a few more shafts, just a couple things really that we're going to find pretty darn useful. A few more things we're probably also going to need to get started is some of these gearboxes, so let's just go ahead and make 4 of those for now. These are quite expensive on the cogwheels, and we'll also make some of these mechanical belts, which is just made out of dried kelp. And I've gone ahead and set up an area to actually put these water wheels, and I've got 3 now because I got 1 from the quest, but we're just going to go ahead and use 2 of these for now. And then I'm probably going to need some blocks to go here, so let's just go ahead and stick some of these guys down like so. And I'm also going to need something actually to block right here as well. So I've got all that in place now, and I've gone ahead and set up an infinite water source just there in case I need water. But we can go ahead and start pouring on these guys, and now it will start producing rotational power. You'll notice I have moved this down 1 block, but that was not too important. Let's go ahead and set up this cog and then this cog, and this actually increases the speed of this little cog here. And then we can go ahead and we can do that again from here to here, and that will actually make some pretty quick cogs. And we'll also set another one up right there. So we're going to go ahead and put the mechanical press on here, and this guy is now active and receiving rotational force. And then we're going to put 1 little guy here and another one there, and then we are going to need our mechanical belts, and we'll go ahead and we'll set up a belt going from that end to that end. So now I've stuck some chests on either side, and I'm going to go ahead and make some of the funnels from the create mod like so, and we will just place 1 here and 1 here. And what this will do is it will pull anything out of this chest onto this conveyor belt, and then this will press it, and then this will be received at this end. So we're going to need some gold to start with to make these engineer's goggles and the wrench. So let's go ahead and stick 4 gold in there, and you'll see it coming along. You'll see it get pressed down by the mechanical press, and like I said, make the plate. and it goes in here. And now that we got the basic setup, you can see I've got some iron plates being made here. We're going to go ahead and make this stuff, the mechanical bearing, the mechanical harvester. We're also going to need some super glue and these linear and radial chassis. And what we're going to be doing with these is, as I said earlier, we're going to be setting up some crop farms. So let's get crafting. We're probably going to need about 3 of these right now, and I just need some slabs by the looks of it. And we can go ahead and make 3 of these mechanical bearings. We're going to make some of these linear chassis and these radial chassis, so I'll just start with like 24 of those and probably about 12 of those, because shouldn't need too many of the radial ones. And then for the super glue, we're just going to need 2 of any type of slime ball, an iron plate and an iron nugget. And this is kind of a reusable tool in the mod. It's very, very useful, and we'll get into what it does in a second. Oop, I almost forgot the most important part of that, and this is the mechanical harvester. So let's go ahead and make, well, we can only make 5 at the moment. I'm going to need some more andesite alloy, but I'm probably going to make about 7 of these per machine. So I think I'm going to set the first one of these up in this area around here, and I've got the mechanical bearing right here. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is actually change this thing's movement mode to always place when stopped to only place when anchor destroyed. So that means basically when this thing is stopped, it won't revert back to regular blocks. It'll kind of stay as its kind of machine. So I can go ahead and place this dirt back, and then we're going to place a radial chassis coming up from here, and then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 linear chassis here. But one thing I did forget is I do need to put a bit of super glue on this guy here, just so he sticks to this linear one. So I've gone ahead and I have hooked this guy up to a water wheel now, and it is now rotating away here. I'm just going to set this quickly back to that movement mode just so I can disable this guy like so, and it locks back in place. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to connect this guy up to some of these mechanical harvesters, and these are what's actually going to harvest each of the crops. And then to keep these guys on, we're going to go ahead and right click on this first mechanical harvester and then drag along all the way to this last linear chassis at the other end. And now we have super glued this whole thing together. So now when I go ahead and I turn this guy back on, all of the mechanical harvesters are part of this mechanism and are now going to kind of harvest the plants as they go along. And there is one final thing I completely forgot about that needs to be part of this machine, and that is these portable storage interfaces. So we're going to need to make some of these chutes here, and then we can go ahead and combine these to make 2 of these guys, and that's all you're going to need per machine. And we can go ahead and stick 1 where we want the receiving items to come out. So I'll probably be having them come out this end, but I'll just put 1 on here, and then 1 at least a block away, so this to get out of here would then be like that. And then these guys will connect as the machine goes round, and this will basically take from this guy's inventory and put into this guy's inventory, which again reminds me I need to stick some chest on this or some form of barrel. So I've now stuck a spruce iron barrel on here, and we'll go ahead and we'll just glue this to part of the structure. I'm going to go ahead and remove this for now, and now I'm just going to kind of set up the farmland and terraform this area together, ready to show you guys how this is going to work. Well, you guys can probably tell I have done a fair bit of work. I've kind of terraformed this area a bit more, and I've gone ahead and I've set out this perimeter all the way around just to stop mobs from being able to trample crops, even though I'm not 100% sure if they still can. And I've got this guy all set up ready to interface with the one attached to the machine. But I do need to get storage set up coming out of this end. But before I even do that, I would like to get some of this green fertilizer, which increases crop output. And this is from Farming for Blockheads, and it's fairly easy to make. I'm going to need a bit of wheat, but I think I have a fair amount of that. But the main thing I need is this green dye, which means we're going to need to go search for cactus. And I think I have actually found a desert, and I've got it marked in this waystone. Yes, I do. Now, obviously, I'm going to need to farm cactus eventually, but I would like to kind of avoid doing that for today because it kind of is a bit of a pain to set up a cactus farm, and the botany pots are kind of slow. So I'm hoping to be able to collect enough of it just to get started here. I've collected a bit of cactus up now, and I am just smelting it up away here. Let's go ahead and just make as much of this as we can. That'll be a good start. And what we're going to do with this is we're just going to go ahead and right click it on each of these farmlands, and that should increase the output of each crop that is harvested now on each of these farmlands. So that's what 32 covered. We are definitely going to need some more cactus. So just to get the ball rolling on some more cactus, let's go ahead and make a botany pot. So I just need a flower pot, and then we can go ahead and stick this terracotta around it like so. And then if we add a hopper to it, we're going to get a hopper botany pot. And now we can just shift and right click this guy on a chest and then go ahead and enter his inventory, put the sand on the bottom, the cactus on top, and this guy will slowly start producing cactus for us. Although this slot is slightly new, and I'm really hoping that this doesn't require a hoe or something to be inside it. I mean, it would make it less OP, but also it would make it super annoying. So I'm just going to see if this produces. And I can confirm you don't need a hoe in this thing, as this thing has been producing. I've got all of this all set up now. I've got all the green fertilizer down on the ground, and we've got a bunch of carrots planted. So all that's really left is to set up some kind of storage. And for now, I'm just going to temporarily use these pipes to pipe out of this thing. And to store this, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to make some storage drawers. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we can go ahead and make one of these spruce drawers. And now we're just going to go ahead and upgrade this drawer. So we'll go with the copper upgrade first. I just need another chest. So there you go. There's the copper one, and this increases the storage by 8 times. And then we're going to go up to the gold one to increase it by 16 times. So there's the gold upgrade, and we can go ahead and just put this in here, and there you go, it just shows up down there. I'm also going to make one of these void upgrades just so things don't go over, you know, the amount and it doesn't know what to do with them. So this will just void anything extra within the drawer. So let's set this thing to only accept carrots, and then we're going to have this overflow barrel in case this produces anything else. I don't think it should, but it might do. So let's go ahead and go like that, and then we'll go ahead and grab our wrench, pull out of there, and this should now just pull everything out and stick it straight into these barrels. Not the most exciting output system, but we'll work on something a bit more interesting, I think, a different time. So I'm going to go ahead and start this thing up. Just place the water in there, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to need to plant all the carrots and get all the stuff down here as well. But as you can see, this guy is now harvesting, and once it makes a full loop here, you'll see it stops and connects up here, and then they're all going to get output into this barrel and this spruce drawer. And there you go, we've now gone from like 50 odd carrots to 200, and this thing will just run passively now as I leave the world. And we are going to be producing these verdant sprigs by the looks of it, as I thought we might, because they were producing in the villager. So I'm going to get building 1 or 2 more of these for potatoes and wheat, just so we can get those producing as well. And I'm all done. And we've got a potato one and a wheat one, as well as the carrot one we built together. And these are now producing quite nicely for me. As you can tell, I built the wheat one last. But I am very happy with how these guys have turned out. But I do need to do a little bit of terraforming around this area, just because I had to kind of extend the land a little bit. But I'll probably do that in between episodes. Let's get on to some other stuff. So now we're going to continue on with the EvilCraft mod that we checked out last episode, and we got this really cool Fortune 5 pickaxe. So this time I think I'd like to try and get some of these promises, at least the tier 1 promise of tenacity, and also try and make this Purifier, which it says here is a disenchanter. And if we go ahead and have a look in the book, you can see that it can remove curses, so it might be good for removing the curse of vengeance off this pickaxe, but it can also move enchantments off of items with a block, which we can make in the blood infuser. So let's get started by making this promise of tenacity 1, and this is what we're going to need to basically get started with everything we want to do today. So we need to make one of these bowl of promises, and we're going to be starting down at tier 0, and we're going to need 5,000 millibuckets of blood and one of these dusted bowl of promises, which is just made with some crushed dark gems and this bowl of empty promises. So I've got a fair amount of blood in here, and I have a load of this condensed blood that you can just find throughout chests in the world, and you can just place this in here and it will just top the blood up for you basically. So it's a very good source of blood. So we just go ahead and throw this guy in here, and it should eventually turn into a bowl of promises tier 1. Or tier 0, sorry. So that's been created now, and then we're going to need to actually go in this infuser again and make this iron promise acceptor, which is just an iron block, but we do need to actually fill this guy all the way up now. And now that has been created. So let's go ahead and jump into our crafting table, and we'll go ahead and make one of these promise of tenacity 1. And I think we just put this in that slot right here. So now that we've got this guy, I'd like to try and make the other 2 promises, so the productivity and the velocity ones. And for these, we're going to need the tier 1 level, which just requires us having this promise of tenacity in here, and it's going to go ahead and use 5,000 millibuckets of blood again. So now I've got all that together. We got the iron promise acceptor and 2 of these tier 1 promises. says. So let's go ahead and make the velocity one, and then it's just a lapis block for the productivity one. And I'm wondering, there's an extra slot in here if you can put another one in here just to speed this guy up, because it is pretty slow. Oh, it looks like we've only got this bit unlocked. Oh, we must have to go up to the next tier to unlock this slot. So this doesn't really do much for us right now, unfortunately. So now I should have all the stuff together to go ahead and make this purifier. So let's make a blood infusion core, grab this guy and place him down here. And I guess we'll just plonk him next to here for now. So from what I understand, we just need to go ahead and put a bucket of blood in here and then place this guy in there, and hopefully it will remove the Curse of Vengeance effect. So this doesn't seem to work quite like the book describes it. I'm not sure if I'm misunderstanding it, but it is not taking the curse off. So I think what I've read is you need some of these blooks. So you put this book in with some blood and it'll make a blook. And no, I was not saying book wrong. It is literally called a blook. Yeah, it's just a bloody book basically. So I do have a couple of enchants on here, so I'm not 100% sure if it's going to remove the Vengeance curse or a different one, but I think we just put that in there now and it should make an enchanted book at least out of it. So what did I get? I got mending off it. That's kind of annoying. Let's try again, I guess. And it's used all that blood as well. Yeah, this is really horrible. I've just got unbreaking, so there was no point in me basically enchanting this pickaxe. Maybe I can at least pull off the Fortune 5 and then we can use that. Well, we did manage to get the Fortune 5 off here, so that is pretty cool, but we still don't have the curse off. Let's try again. Okay, it seems fourth time was the charm on this one. We've managed to get Curse of Vengeance off this pickaxe, which makes this a lot more usable, and it means it's not going to make those annoying noises whenever I break things. Well, they're not annoying, they're just really creepy and they kind of scare me. But quickly, before I reapply this fortune, I wanted to go ahead and make this printing press from Bibliocraft. Yes, that's right, Bibliocraft has finally made its return to modern Minecraft. And I believe this is a lot simpler than it used to be. I think we just want to put the book we want to copy there and then a book here, and then we put it on clone, and then it says it's going to cost 5 XP. There you go, and it should just start cloning this book, so we'll get 2 of these so we can reuse them. So we should be getting another one right about now. Let's hope it's Fortune 5. There you go, and that only cost 5 levels to copy. That was very, very cheap. I was expecting that to cost a bit more. And now my Vengeance pickaxe has all the enchantments back on it, and we've managed to get rid of this pesky Curse of Vengeance. Although I'm going to keep this on me, I think, because I still do get spirit spawning when I kill them. And I think quickly, before we finish off for this episode, I think I'm going to go ahead and try and make this Tenacity 2 promise, so we can go ahead and put this productivity promise into here. So I'm going to need to actually fill this fully up with blood. And now we can go ahead and make this gold promise acceptor, which is very hefty, but we should have enough blood to do this thanks to these condensed blood. So we've got our gold promise acceptor, and I'm just going to need to make another one of the promises bowls. Just get some blood in here, and there you go, we've got our tier 1 bowl of promises, and we can go ahead and upgrade this to a promise of tenacity 2, and I think we can just swap these out, and there you go, we've got the productivity in there as well. So I think that's gonna have to do for this episode. We've got ourselves a brand new base. We've managed to set up some create crop farms that you can see back on the left, and we've managed to get rid of the Curse of Vengeance on this here pickaxe. I'd say that's a pretty productive one, so I hope to see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.